Policy and curriculum, call the committee to order at 6:27.
Thank you, Pam.
We'll start with an update on the blended learning class at Fox River.
Okay. Actually, I think it'll come up here, then you guys can turn your head, how's that sound?
Thanks, Ken.
Yep. I have some handouts, sorry, I didn't get them out to you sooner, but it would just been probably confusing to look at, so we can follow along together. Mhm. Okay, so the best thing is that we can, I know I said that we were going to have the kids name it, but I've just decided from a marketing point of view that I thought it would be best that we, instead of continuing to call it blended learning class, I wanted to put a name to it. So actually, starting today now, it's going to be called the REACH program, okay? And I, once again, you know, you see me wear this every Monday, you might think, oh my God, doesn't she have any other clothes? But this is I don't know. I want you to know that this is our mission over at Fox River. Every morning I say connecting, inspiring, achieving, or else I pick and I say, okay, today let's inspire, find someone to achieve, and connect with. And so we really wanted to focus because this isn't something, a different entity. It's really a part of the whole building. So when we looked at what we wanted to name this program, we used REACH, which is realizing your potential through engagement, achievement, connections, and high expectations. So it's all connected. It's not something separate that's going on in our building. It all intertwines with what we are all about at Fox River. So that said, I want to bring you up to date on what we've been doing at the building since then, and I'd rather give you more information, not enough information in case someone in the community comes to you and you refer them to me. But so we really have been doing a lot of professional learning as a group, okay? And remind you that it's Jessica Rabbit who will be the humanities, Matt Peltz who is the math person, Rachel Bergman who come in because of her degree with helping us with the personal, the technology, the creativity and things like that. Aaron Dietz, the reading specialist, helping with the humanities piece. And then Jane has been helping, Nicole Meyer has been helping, Sarah Sheppy has been helping, and Kathy Hoppy has been helping also. So this is the group of people along with Brian Shu with the potential of science coming in possibly in a year, okay, talking about that in the future, but I want to make sure he's on board so we're all part of it as a group together. So together we have been really working on, first off, the change process, and I mentioned that a little bit, so I just last time drew a couple things, and what I think is important that we know right now is that we're in the initiation stage. We are nowhere near implementation right now. We'll be implementing next year, but we're really on this process right now. And so when you look at a change process, we just have to make sure that they all overlap. And if I don't do my due diligence in each of those areas, we could potentially, whatever the case may be. So I want to make sure that we understand that piece. The next piece I gave you was the KEYS concept. It's a bunch of things I put together, but number 4 is I need to develop a theory of action to guide our process of change. So we've really been working on an action. So this is what we want, and because this is what we want, this is what we want to hopefully to get. And then what are the things in the piece in the middle that we have to focus on, instead of just this is what I want and this is what we're going to get, and I don't express the things in the middle. So I wanted you guys to be aware that we've really been working hard on what is a theory of action. And then that last page I put down there, the purpose of a theory of action, it really makes us think, and we've been doing, when we get done with our work, we're sweating, our brains are sweating because of the thinking we're doing, okay? And together we're building a shared understanding. It's really causing us to provide a rationale for why we're choosing something over one other thing, and then it articulates our predictive course of action. So I just wanted the board to know that this isn't something that we're freelancing out of the building because Mrs. Martin thinks it's something. We really have research and things behind us that we're really using to guide what we're doing. So I wanted to make sure that, any questions about this piece at all? Okay. And if you have something along the way, just let me know. So with that said, we've been really working a lot on that. So as the next handout I gave you was, as a team, we've really been learning about the principles of engagement, because that's what I talked to you about in the beginning, about we want to look at hopefully increasing engagement with kids. What does that mean? And Darlene, how do you measure that? How do you have a baseline? How do you not? So my teachers, along with Jane and Sarah, Kathy also went to an engagement piece a couple weeks ago. And the theory really behind the engagement piece is there's 3 different pillars of education. One is the cognitive piece, one is the behavioral piece, and one is the emotional piece. And we've done a really, really good job in my building, this district, working on the behavioral piece and the cognitive piece. Okay, in other words, the brain, I need to learn this, I need to get this, and the behavioral piece, and the emotional piece is probably something in my building that maybe I haven't worked as strong on in the past months or years. So this program is really about that emotional piece or the engagement piece, and what I'm going to be doing down there with that engagement and emotional to make those connections, okay? So I just kind of put this, well, I should say I did not put it together. Jessica Radley put this together for you guys so that you just kind of had a look. It comes from, you've heard me talk about John Hattie's book, The Visible Learning, and you know, he really talks about the two pillars. Their teachers see their content in class through the eyes of the learner, and then each student sees himself or herself as his or her own best teacher. So those are the things, what does visible learning look like in the classroom? And my whole building is working on that right now. That's what my PLCs are about. We're reading the book, we're researching these things out, and we're breaking it down. So I just wanted you to have this as just something to either ask questions about or just kind of to understand. We're not changing content, we're not changing curriculum, we're still doing everything that's happening right now, but a lot of this emotional engagement piece is a lot of behind the foundation for this. So any questions on the learning we've been doing on ISACT? Okay, the second piece since I've been here last time is we've really been working on the ongoing program development. So what it's going to look like, what's going to be, with just a lot of logistical things we've been talking about with that. The core thing we've really been working on, starting the unit planning. Jessica Radley is really getting down now to this humanities piece. How do you take the social studies, how do you take the ELA, and how do you make it like this? So taking a look at the 4 ELA themes they have each quarter, and then taking the social studies curriculum and taking where does Civil War fit into which one of these units, where does this fit in, and trying to look at how we can look at then what books we have in the building to support it with resources. So Jessica's really just starting very preliminary, but just that's where we're at right now. Matt's beginning to work on that. He had to do some curriculum work with Kathy last week, so probably Jessica just got a little advantage on him with that piece last Wednesday. From my point of view, I've been working with Mr. Quant. Right now, we're looking at about $26,000 for the basement area, the lower level area. We've got ceiling quotes, we got HVAC quotes, we got the flooring quote, we got the painting quote. So working on that with Ken. Working with Ed on the lighting. In fact, we were at a meeting all day today, and I got back and I had a message to return the phone call to the lighting person, so I want to take a look at the new lighting that he's been talking to us about. So I'm looking at that piece, and then I've started looking at bookstore furniture. Really looking at everything would be on wheels, so it can be moved, taken when we get our new building, taken to our new building, and things like that. So,
Excuse me, Bob. I don't even know. I'm sitting here looking up basketball backstops, and next thing you know,
a lot of new buildings.
what's going
I
on?
always go for a new building. But I'm looking at that type of stuff. I think one of the most and fun things is, and Mr. D would appreciate that, is I'm looking at, I'm not going to go 360, but at 3 walls of glass, whatever it's we write on, template where you write on it, so visible learning would take place, especially I can use math as all kids, instead of sitting at a desk with whiteboards or whatever, they'll be standing at the walls, they'll be doing all their math up on the walls, teacher in the middle looking, kids looking at the map, turn around, look at your partners, okay, take a YouTube clip of what you got to send to Mr. Pelt so he can look at it tonight, okay, you teach this problem out loud while we videotape it, so once again, that's kind of what visible learning is like, so looking at 3 walls, in an area for this to be going for a class of kids, whatever, to be kind of standing like that. So just to kind of give you a concept of what it would be. Also, when you take a look at what the room would be like is, looking at a formal space, then I want to have some physical private spaces, because kids still need, for learners, they just need, I think a spot that's quiet. Then you take a small group work areas, because we have to be collaborative sometimes, so some space area for that. Transition spaces, and then some physical social types of places, I'm not going to necessarily say couches, but something like that where it's just a little more relaxed. So when you think about, taking a room, those would be kind of what the space areas would look like within this context of the room, okay? Then having some small cubbies, because kids still need a place to put their stuff. They're going to be there for 4 hours. There is a bathroom down in the area, but we're not going up the lockers. We're not transitioning on bells. So needing just a place to put their private things, so working on some things with that too. So that would be kind of what the space area would be. So that's the other thing that I've been working on since we met last time. The final piece of what I've been working on is the template for the parents, and you have it in front of you right now. This is going to be in a trifold. So right now, don't have it ready for a trifold, working on that right now, but this is going to be, this is our logo because we're the Falcons. We'll shrink that up some way to be able to put this on the sheet of paper. Somehow we have to just do it a little more logistically. But this is going to be what's going to go home to parents, so you can see the who, unless there's something you'd like me to change on it, so I'm bringing it for you. The who, what, when, where, why. We'll have the REACH program in there, and then what would my children's day look like? So what is this blended learning, this REACH class, what is it not? Being very clear, little parent, but it's not. And then why you may want to consider for your child for this class, and then the selection parameters. So if you people don't give me, or you think it's good, I'm looking at sending this home this Friday. Then I'm looking at next Thursday for a parent meeting, for any parents that would say, hey, can you give me more information, Mrs. Marco? I mean, I don't mind talking to a parent on the phone, but sometimes a face-to-face to engage in a dialogue is better. So next Thursday night, I open up to parents that in 7th grade that are interested to want to hear more about it before they decide. I'll be having that opportunity for them next Thursday. So once again, take a look at it, give me questions, shoot me an email if there's something you think that's glaring not correct with this. That would be my span. At the end of the month, looking at students going into the classrooms the last week in February and presenting to all the 7th graders registering for 8th grade with all the related arts sections. And then that day before, the forms are due back to me so we can start to organize classes, so I can start the master schedule, the second part of it. Then that's when this would be due for a decision if you wanted to be part of this. And then after that, my hope is that we have more than 25 kids and I'll hold a lottery and then we'll pick the 25 kids. So that's the work I've done at this point since I've been here last time. I've got where we're going, but is there any questions on work from last committee meeting to now?
Just for me to be clear, the only criteria to be selected is filling a student information sheet. So you, and then if you get 50, you're just drawing 25
Then
names,
draw 25.
and it's completely random.
Yep, I'll probably call parents in, maybe I'll videotape it so nobody thinks I'm cheating, whatever the case may be. I don't know, we'll see. This is my first chance at this.
Sure.
No other criteria. This is what we wanted. We want it for ALL, all kids. It's not high, low, medium, I'm good in this, I'm not good in this, I have this, I want this, no. And we're hoping to get a real good cross-section of the building.
And I'm sorry, I just wanted to also just say I appreciate the fact that you're talking about the visible learning throughout the whole school.
Yes.
I mean, I just think that's, yeah.
Well, and that's what we talked about is, this is a focus group of 25 kids on a fast pace in the basement. Everybody else, I always say upstairs, we're doing the same thing, but once again, we're moving along. Sarah Shepke still works with them on Monday on the unit planning. We're still doing the PLC. We're still doing the thinking skills after school. Mrs. Hager comes over. So all of this ties together. It may sound like, or talking to a teacher, they may say, oh my God, Joey's got to do this and this and this and this, right? But it all comes together. And some are getting that right now. Some, we're all at different paces, but yes, it's all connected.
If you, let's say the response to this is overwhelming. We hope 100 kids sign up for it, whatever it might be.
Great.
And we do have to go to a lottery. With the goal wanting to be a cross-section of kids, a lottery could be completely random.
Yeah.
And you don't end up with a cross-section of kids, you end up with a very similar, distinct set of kids, whether that be really good or really, whatever it might be. Has that thought occurred?
Well, we've talked about that. I've talked about I can take, all the names, and you're in this pod type of kid, and you're this, and you receive this, and you're in the high, and you're this, and you're this, and so you get two, you get two, you get two. But then I thought, you know what? I don't want to put kids in two buckets that way. So I'm just going to take a good hope that when I pull the name, I'm going to get some equal boys, some equal girls, some equal high, lows, whatever. So At this point, right now, Tom, maybe when I come back in a month, I'll say, you know, I told you that, but now I'm doing a little more research and more looking into it, I like that. We've talked about that as a group. At this moment, I'm still just put all the names in a bucket full. Now, maybe if we have 100, the only thing I could think is maybe I put all the boys in one bucket, all the girls in another bucket to make sure I don't by chance pull 25 girls and no boys. That could be, but I don't know if I want to differentiate by you got red hair, you got black hair, you got blonde hair.
Oh, no, and I don't,
No,
I don't want it to be insensitive and like,
No,
I just also want it to be, give you the opportunity to really see how the program can work and not have it be a success or failure because it just randomly was.
And that's something, like I said, that's something for me to keep thinking about, and it's something we have talked about. So, but thank you for that reminder and the permission to think that way.
How many seventh graders do you have going into?
We're going to have 100, at this point, we're slated for 195. Because there's 195.
You know, and the other thing to think about too is as you go in, you know, it's just like any classroom, you don't necessarily know the mix you're gonna get. You know, I mean, it's public school, whoever shows up on Monday. So part of it is too, is figuring out, you know, is gauging, you know, is making sure we do very good data collection. You know, and, you know, where do the students start, what are the types of students we got, you know, what's the growth, what's most effective, what's least effective, you know, those kind of things. So,
I think we also
Oh,
look
I
at it
know.
and say, well,
We do
maybe
not
these two shouldn't be in the
control
class
the
together.
Yeah.
Right, so there's some of that.
Could be, yeah. We do, I'm not ready to bring you the preliminary survey, but we've been working on some surveys that to give kids at the end of 7th grade here. Actually, I'll talk about that in my next month things right now coming up, but yes, we're looking at some ways to grab some data here.
I think if you do the drawing, I think it'd be cool to videotape it and then post it like on the Facebook page. I think the kids are probably gonna be really excited to be in this and for them to be able to watch it and just kind of watch their name get drawn. I think that would probably be exciting to them.
Yeah.
The other question, kind of looking at the reverse side, what happens if a kid is in there and they're struggling and they just aren't making, what happens in the worst case?
Well, we talked about that, and we struggled whether we would put that on this piece of paper or not. At this point, we decided not to put that down. If it doesn't fit your child, you'll award it.
Yeah,
Because I think we have to take a look at what's going on, and once again, as a data piece, is it something we're doing, is it something, so, I mean, if it just is not, I'm not gonna put a child through something for the sake of, I mean, it's what's best for kids. So it'd be a meeting, and yes, there is a potential that we could take a look at that, but just like right now, when someone calls me up and says, I don't like Mrs. Markle for my math teacher, I want blue one, it's like, okay, no, we're not making that change tomorrow. Let's talk about what I'm not doing to help out here. So we've talked about that, and I would never leave a kid for the sake of a principle of a matter, but I also wasn't.
Yeah, I would've
Yeah,
put
but
it
some
on
people
there.
have asked, you know, Darlene, do you need to put that? Because I've put this through a lot of different people to
Yeah.
look at it, and people have asked, should you put that in exit strategy on here?
Yeah, I think it's important to have a plan, but I think you're right, it doesn't make sense to put it on here because then a parent's gonna think that if they're struggling at the beginning, because it's a different type of learning,
Right.
just pull them out and give them no kids
Yeah.
left. Whereas, you know, it probably might be a struggle for some of the kids in the beginning because it is completely different. But I think once they work through that, they're gonna come out a lot further ahead at the end of the program.
Well, and that's what we anticipated, we talked about that last time. The first 2 months for some of these kids, it may be like, oh my gosh, wow, really? I don't like this, but I kind of like right now, so this is our first year with a high ELA class, and we've experienced some growing pains with students in that area, and now it's just like they're just starting to flourish, because it's like, I see why you're not going to tell the answer. I see why, and so, yeah.
I just wondered on the sheet you gave us under the student resources where you say variety of staff used to meet, you know, specific student learning needs, wondered if you wanted to put on there, you know, like such as TAG or reading specialist, technology integrator, whatever wording you want to use on the left-hand side of the blended learning model.
Okay.
Just a little more explicit to what those staff may be, so they can kind of see the cross-section that you're open to. But just a suggestion.
Yep, no, that's what we're looking for. I'll take it back to the group. Okay.
I have just a couple ideas, Darlene.
Yes.
You probably thought of this, but you probably will, when you do the lottery, you want to go maybe to 40 or 50 kids, right? And then have a commitment date, because Jim may get picked, but his buddy did it.
Yeah.
Now he can-
That's correct. No, right.
Right.
We'll do a waiting list. Yeah, we'll pick, okay, let's just hope, we'll pick 25, and then we'll pick, let's just say, 10 more for a waiting list in case Johnny moves this summer. Up comes Susie then, yep.
And I like your idea of the parent meeting on Thursday next week, because we talked to Megan School for almost 20 years, the different ones, and the more you can get info to them and their parents, and they can make an informed decision, it makes better matches for them.
Okay.
But I love everything you guys put together.
All right, thank you. Then, just so you have a forecast before I come next time, what we're looking at for this next month between now and the next meeting is going to continue, obviously, the ongoing professional development that's taking place. Okay, as a team, we learn. Jess and Matt will continue to work on their unit planning. As I said, the emails are going home to the parents, and then the parent night, forms due, lottery. And then one thing I'm really excited about is I joined the Institute for Personalized Learning. Now, I understand this isn't personalized learning, but that's the word they use, okay? It's the institute of all the schools in this area, southeastern part of the, Kettle Moraine, all the schools that are doing this type of thing, learning in their schools. And so by joining this network, it gives me and us as professionals a support group to talk to and so forth. So I've joined this. By joining that, it gives me opportunities for my staff and for the students. If we have the program going, my students, but now with upcoming students. So on the 24th of this month, they are holding a youth summit. And it's going to be at the Brookfield Sheraton. And what this is going to be is this year's theme is Everyone Thinks Differently. So kids from all the programs that are involved, Kettle Moraine, Muskego, Waukesha, Tosa, wherever, who's ever members of this, can bring kids. And the kids work all day about, throughout the day, students will be encouraged to think about their own educational experiences and what they need as learners to be successful. It's kids networking, kids talking, kids telling educators about what they want, what they need in schools. And then it helps you develop a vision. So I'm going to be taking 6 students. Now, ideally, if I had the program, I'd be pulling 6 from the program to take. I don't have the 6 from a program, so I'm just going to work with Jane and Nicole Meyer, and we're just going to pull 3 boys and 3 girls in 7th grade, since they're the future of the program. Maybe they'll be in it, maybe they won't, but I want to be part of this because I want to get our voice heard. I want to hear what other people are saying. So I will be signing up for this. I just got the email on Saturday from Caroline Reeves, who's part of this, and I just wanted to let you know that we are going to do this. It says here they will have the opportunity to reflect on their own learning experience, hear from other students as well. In fact, most of the day, students will be engaging and discussing with students not from their school. At the end of the day, the students and educators will be encouraged to think about how they can develop a vision, listen to others, and take action steps as leaders. So I'm going to be taking kids to this, and even though we have all this stuff put in place, to me, it's about the process, and so I'll be getting their input. So at the next committee meeting, I'll be able to update you on how that takes place. And the beauty of this organization is I'm pretty much 99.9% sure I will pay the fee again next year. And next year, we'll be able to extend it out to the elementary principals if they're interested. Jim's going to talk here in a few minutes, but this might be a great pace for him to get some networking and so forth too. So just looking at it in a bigger picture for the district and the elementary. So that's really what is on the docket for the next month. So hopefully when I come to the next committee meeting in March, I will be able to report we had 600 kids sign up. More than 25. We had a lottery, and here are the names, and this is what the demographics is, and this is where we're at, and I'll be able to report on this and any professional development and where the teachers are in the unit development. Questions on the future for the next month? Anything you'd like to see me doing differently and bring next time?
Just out of curiosity, as you're sharing being part of this other group, out of other districts who are doing this, how many students do they have in programs such as this?
Well, I don't know the exact amounts. I can tell you Waukesha is 6 through 8, and they have an extensive program within a program. Muskego has, I don't know the exact number. Kettle Moraine has opened up theirs. Pewaukee, it's their culture. in that place there, and pretty much in Cuttermaraine too, so it's really about starting where we are at right now and growing it with the culture. But I'm certainly sure I can get
Did they
those
start
numbers.
at 25 or did they start?
You know, I think when Waukesha actually started, they started it as, Waukesha, and I don't want to speak for Waukesha, but just living there, what I recall as a citizen from reading the newspaper, listening to board meetings, they started it as a STEM school in middle and elementary. They grew it from their STEM with Ed. They expanded the STEM programming. Then they took on their flight program at the middle school at Corning. And then they have 2 other middle schools, and they took on what it looked like in their middle school. Central is actually, well, now it's West Hall Middle School, is in the process of doing what I'm doing right now, to open up a program at Central next year. And then what they've opened up is a program out of North, because all these kids that now have been learning this way through their STEM programming in early and elementaries, and this type of program in middle school, they're going to high school, it's like, okay, what do we do in high school? So now they've opened up a program at the high school at North, and I mean, once again, I don't know where the expansion is at high school, but that's where they're at with that. So I know that. I visited Pewaukee years ago when we were doing our one-on-one. Did you go with me, Jim, there? Yeah, so we went out to Pewaukee when we were with the one-on-one initiative, and they had a one isolated room at that point that we visited and looked at how they ran the program there. And so this has been something in the back of my mind for years. And now they've expanded that program. I just read about the Cuttermaraine one, but I know it's a premium one that they've got going. And then the one at Muskego, I just read about. I haven't been able to visit these schools because once again, I'm not part of this network. Now by joining this network, it gives me the ability to visit these schools because, you know, they can have people visiting all day long across the state, so they focus in have to be part of this. It's kind of whatever, but
I'm just curious about that, just thinking about numbers and data and getting, you know, traction if it's working for 25 out of 195, is that enough to keep it going, you know?
Well, we
or
talked
what
about
would be,
that.
you know, that conversation, so I'd just be curious when the other schools started regarding
Well,
that, what
they-
they've learned from that.
Well, I think what I've learned from some started bigger and said, oh my gosh, start small. And some started small and said, do small so you make mistakes small. So I think, you know, I've got a mix of people that have said different things along the way. I mean, knowing me, you know, I'd love to have, if we get 100, I'd say sign them up. But I have my colleagues, I know that we need to still 25, still, so. Any other things for me?
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time and thank you to the team.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your support.
Next, discussion on STEM at each of the elementary schools. I had asked that this came as a